Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip. Let's get it on now. Select to make your first pick. Let's get it on now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Let's get it on now. Choose and pick the best one. Let's get it on now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it on now. Select to make your first pick. Let's get it on now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. Let's get it on now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip. Let's get it on now. Select to make your first pick. Let's get it on now. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Well, that could have gone a little bit better.
That's all right, because it's a recording. So we'll cut from here and let me roll into it. Okay, welcome back to the Academy, boys and girls. We're doing something a little bit different here. Something that we're calling the PhG studies, the philosophy of and psychology of the game. So the philosophy and psychology of the game is a new thing that we're going to do. We're going to do this once a month, where we're actually going to sit down and we're going to break down the game and not just look at what you're doing in the game, but what the game is doing to you. So this is going to be a show that treats video games as more than entertainment. We're going to explore the myths, psychological mirrors, spaces where we have to look at things differently. Every episode, we're going to take one classic title, play it live right here, just like this, and dig into the, deeper bits underneath, underneath all the pixels and all the flashy graphics. Well, this one isn't going to be particularly flashy because we're going all the way back. But we're going to look at, the ideas, what the developers might have been intending for you to feel, right? And the patterns of thought that'll end up forming as you play through a game of this particular genre. So I'm Oliver, as everyone should know at this point that listens to the Gaming Academy Gamer Quotient podcast, right? And I like to spend my time unpacking the philosophy and depth of the psychology that can be in video games, especially of the Jungian type. I mean, I've got a special place in my heart for Carl Jung, since I was introduced to him through Persona, but that's a story for a different time. We're going to look at the symbols, and we're going to look at the more shadowy aspects of games that can rear its head at times, and how certain behaviors are placed in our way by developers to get us to behave a certain way. So games have always kind of felt like almost like a walking social experiment to me for those ideas. And I'm here to help you connect the dots between what's happening on screen and what's happening to you. And of course, my co-host for this is going to be Ace. So go ahead and take it away, Ace.
Well, for the folks that, may be watching this for the first time and haven't been keeping up with the podcast, I'm Blazing Ace Nelson. Y'all can simply call me Ace for this one. I'm going to be the one in the trenches with the controller. While Oliver explores the archetypes and the inner terrain, I'll be playing through Simon's Quest, plus, each of the other games we have lined up for you from scratch, wrestling with the whip, the cryptic clues, the day-night cycle, and every frustrating backtrack. I'll call out what works, call out what hasn't aged well, and how the mechanics actually feel, and then bounce those raw moments straight back to Oliver for deeper analysis. Now, what do you say we go ahead and see what this cursed quest actually reveals?
Now, while we're coming over here, I want to give people a brief rundown on our game for the month. We're doing Castlevania II: Simon's Quest, not the original Castlevania. No, we're doing the sequel because it is so different from many other Castlevania games of its era that it always bears pointing out. It's a pretty old one. Castlevania II was developed and published by Konami and originally released in Japan in August of '87 for the Famicom, and then it would come out in late of '88 for the NES here for us stateside. Uh, it's so different. It's such a different game. It introduced an open world, right? That early in history, in game history, we were still doing open world. So basically, you can free roam as you will, barring mechanics, getting in your way. Uh, it's not unlike Metroid. I mean, they feel very similar to one another, but they introduce so many big concepts to Castlevania with a structured day and night cycle,
Mhm.
having towns with NPCs, kind of like Zelda 2: Adventure of Link, an almost RPG style of leveling here. Collecting relics, collecting power ups that are really common staples of the Metroidvania genre, and of course, this game also has multiple endings, which kind of surprises people. But this is a really divisive game. We're going to get into the meat of that as Ace starts making his way through it. So it's really a trip. It's really a trip. Like it's the opinions on this definitely changed over time.
Oh, yeah. So with that said, as we're going to be discussing some of those opinions, let me go ahead and fire this up. Oh, come on, there we
So
go.
yep, there we go. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird game. I mean, first and foremost, like let's start with this title screen. Let me tell you something. Like I love telling this story. Like I think I love telling this story because I'm not ashamed of it. Because it's like this music right here is one of the most terrifying things I've ever heard in my life. Scared the bejesus out of me. Right? It's like, you were scared? Yes. I was 6 years old when I played this. Like, cut a
Yeah,
brother some slack.
yeah,
It's moody.
that's the kind of thing that's gonna. That is the kind of thing that is definitely going to make an impression on a little 6-year-old.
Absolutely. Like, especially when you just, if you bookend it against the other kinds of games that were coming out. I mean, it's hard to go from Super Mario Brothers, which is very bright and chipper most of the time, right? And Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and it's got all the flash bulbs and all this. But this, I mean, come on, our title screen had no music whatsoever, right? And then you jump
Right.
over to this, and it has got a mood. It is telling you right out the gate that you're not out there for guts and glory. You're out there to save your own ass. This is a whole game that is it's basically built on doom. Like there's an actual impending sense of doom that lays over the game, and we're going to get into that. But how much of this do you remember from being a kid, Ace?
Well, I mean, I literally remember sitting down and trying to play through, the start of this, and it wasn't clicking for me. But again, around the time we were playing this, you were like you were 6 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
I was still arguing with my siblings and struggling with Super Mario Brothers. So
You weren't blazing Ace Nelson. You were baby Nelson. Ace Nelson.
right, I
That-
was baby Big Head Nelson.
like you were super tiny. So this, in short, this is
I
just
was
a scary
matchstick.
game and kids shouldn't play it. Like, no, this is the game. You want to give someone some. There are 2 video games from this period guaranteed to give anybody trauma. It's you play this and play the original Legend of Zelda and try and get through the Lost Woods. You're gonna have some video game PTSD of a kind, right? Like, yeah,
TMNT.
yeah, exactly. Those are the 3. That's the Triforce of hurting children's feelings. So it's like what are we doing in Simon's Quest exactly? Obviously this is a direct follow-up to the original Castlevania. You're still playing as Simon Belmont, who is the OG. Like, he is the first vampire hunter hero that we really have, in that era. Like, he's not the first Belmont, but he's the first one we were introduced to.
Yep.
And this kind of follows on up from that, where basically plot-wise, Simon, killed Dracula, but Dracula cursed him, and Simon Belmont is going to die. There's a curse upon the land. It's not working out for anybody. And so here's something that they don't tell you at all in any real significant way. You don't find out until after the fact, right? But are you ready for this, Ace?
Shoot.
There's a time limit in this game. There is a time limit. You have 7 days to sort this shit out.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, now, of course, in this time where you couldn't catch a strategy guide to save your life, you didn't really know, but that's where the multiple endings come from, is how many days elapse. But there are some ways to get around that. We'll get into that. So let's go ahead and get this bad boy going.
Here we go.
And here you are, the loneliest hobo in town. They didn't even have an intro, man. They just dropped you in it.
Right. First thing to do in this town is buy a white crystal. Now, considering this game's reputation for, oh wow.
So one of the things that Ace is actually starting to talk about right there, is this game has a reputation. It absolutely has a reputation because this is one of the earliest times I can think of, at least, in video game history, where the game in and of itself is an unreliable narrator. Now, kind of just an odd little joke here, you wouldn't know that in game, right? Like, so many people think that a lot of things are mistranslations when they are not mistranslations. The instruction manual for this game actually tells you that there are people who are not telling you the truth. You are actively being deceived, and you have to really, really screen and think about what everyone is saying, because they can just straight up feed you false information purposefully.
Well, that didn't work out too well.
He got his clock cleaned real quick. Look, there's a lot of fatal nonsense that's going on here in Castlevania II.
Nope.
Right? You fall in the water, you die. Nobody swam. There's one swimmer, okay, in the NES era, and that's Mario. And even that brother is struggling, okay? So, no, this is just a straight up, no, you're going to get hurt. So, the general gameplay flow here that Ace is working on is first, he's in town and he's kind of investigating for information, and there are some base level amenities that you can find. Obviously you go into houses like this and you can talk to people, and they may or may not sell you things like upgrades to your whips, but also things like the crystal
hearts. I wouldn't be able to get that.
And that's another just crazy mechanic right there. Like, long before Souls games did it, where Souls were both your experience and currency, well, Castlevania II did it first. So collecting hearts here aren't just to power sub weapons. Not anymore. That's not how that goes in Castlevania II. No, instead you're gonna get those hearts, and you're gonna trade those for your things like your white crystal and whip upgrades and all that. Um, we were talking about that.
Oh no! Already?
Speak of the devil, because that's exactly where I was headed. So,
Oh,
a day truly does. A day truly consists of a 24-hour cycle, right? So he's just hit his first evening. The classic and legendary line, "What a horrible night to have a curse." People still talk about this line. This is one of the reasons why Castlevania II is such a. Everybody knows it. Everyone knows Castlevania II, but everyone has a different opinion on Castlevania II. Obviously,
one thing's for certain, the music absolutely is just the music is killer.
It started popping real quick, didn't it?
Oh yeah,
it went down.
It's
gone down.
I'm like, oh shit, here it comes.
So at this point in the game, people lock the doors.
Oh
right,
yeah.
You're not going to run and hide, and mechanically, there's a pretty good reason for that. So even though you have this incredibly tight time limit of 7 days to sort out Dracula's curse, unfortunately, and this is just based on NES hardware, you can exploit that pretty well. If you are indoors, time doesn't pass. So think about that for a second. Indoors, time doesn't pass. It's only counts on the overworld. So one of the things that you're supposed to do as a strategy to get in under that time limit is spend time in the mansions. And basically what that is Simon's whole quest is that he is here to recollect all of Dracula's body parts after absolutely just wrecking the guy in Castlevania 1. But now, in order to undo that curse, Simon's going to have to go out there and gather his body parts back up, resurrect Dracula, and kill him again. I don't know why just being dead now doesn't count, but we're not here to ask questions. We are here to deal with these damn skeletons in the woods. Nuts. So many of them.
The fact that Simon basically has to bring him back just to beat his ass again so he can lift that curse that is something else.
Right, you gotta wake this guy up. And of course, each of Dracula's body parts is therefore contained inside of
come on,
a little mansion, right? And those they're effectively dungeons, right? If we're gonna make comparison to Dark Souls and things like that, like we've already made because of the heart system and it being both your XP and currency, it really is your proper dungeons where you need to almost spend more time puzzling your way through it and eventually getting to, Dracula's body part, right? And each body part offers a different new mechanic. So now you're officially through your first 24-hour cycle. Congratulations, you have 6 days to go.
6 days to go and 2 hit points left.
2 hit points. He's gonna die, folks. He ain't gonna make it. That's fine, though. Because speaking of which, so how do you feel like the controls have aged here?
Honestly, and let's take note, folks, I'm not playing this on the OG hardware. I'm actually playing the Anniversary Collection on the Nintendo Switch. But the controls actually still feel really tight and responsive. Like I am legitimately amazed at how well this, how well this is still preserved. I mean, the only issue I'm having is just muscle memory. Because, last time I played this, I was like 4 or 5 years old. I'm
really legit just sitting here waiting for you to just absolutely eat it in some water. Like, look at how close you had to get to make that jump.
Right? Now, here's the thing. Playing an NES game, I already just kind of dip into the mindset where I'm going to need to make some... I'm going to need to do some pixel perfect shit.
Yeah.
This right here? Nah. This Nintendo hates kids.
Oh, there it is. I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to happen. The absolute punishing. They're like, oh no, you done, nephew. Oh, there goes 2.
Now the problem here.
You're gonna have to drop down on that right near.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to drop down
Yep.
and hit. That's
Absolute
what
bullying.
I need to do.
Absolute bullying. Konami held nothing back.
No, they did not. See, and here we go. That first mansion.
Its first mansion.
Looking like they got a skull pattern right here on the front gate.
Mm-hmm. And then this dope track comes out. So just to start, it's like, wait a minute, how do you move forward? Well, there's a platform there that you can't see. I believe, if I recall correctly, I'm not 100% on this, but I think this is one that it is made visible by Dracula's eye.
Well, and we already hit my first game over.
Already hit game over. What? He's a day and a half in, and people think Dying Light is hard.
So,
yeah, I think you need Dracula's eye to reveal it and even make it useful. So you can't actually do this mansion yet. And if you can believe it, there's a map. It's not a great one. It's called, you got to read all the town signs to know where you actually are in the world. I mean, again, very, very tricky game design for its time.
God, the bats!
And we're getting jacked up by bats. My man doesn't have any holy water. And we have to find a mansion where he can actually attack enemies.
That would be nice, yes.
So,
bats!
I mean, accessibility-wise, when people talk about accessibility, I always talk about and think about that as, literally accessibility. Like, oh, hey, someone is red-green colorblind. Man, there's a lot of games that just don't work if you can't see red or green. I'll tell you that much. Castlevania has no such options here. It's called, you pick up the controller and you can either play it or not. Right?
Pick up the controller and you suss it out. Suss it out quickly.
So, you better figure it out. But clearly the game has been beating you up something fierce, but you can't blame it on the controls.
Oh no,
he's already a day and a half in.
I'm just trying to get down the stairs, damn it!
They said, did I just catch you trying to walk down some stairs?
And that's the thing. Since the enemies respawn like that, I couldn't really get any clearance.
Mm-hmm.
And why do I get the feeling they're probably going to come back, too?
Does anything
because of course they are.
Truly stay dead? Well, it could have been worse. He could have knocked you back off the platform and into the water. Now, isn't it rude that they didn't tell you or give any kind of indicator that there's a difference between the blue water and the red water? Right? Because they got you thinking you can die, right?
Right.
So, this is why we even decided to do this series. That's psychological training right there. You get taught very early that water is not good for you. It's not good for you, right? It's almost like a kind of Pavlovian dog training, where if you just see blue, it's not for you. That's basically how it works.
It's like turn right for Dobby's path, left for the Veros Woods. I'm guessing that must have been where I was just now.
Yeah. At the very least, as far as I can recall, signs don't lie to you, but people do. So we like I said, we've got this little bit of certain type of training, or as Ace has heard me say plenty of times over the years. The game.
All the way back up.
So at this point, all you can do is go left, really.
Yep.
He's like, I just went a complete circle. I love that 24 minutes of Castlevania 2 has already got him pulling out the mother effers. It's a good Nintendo game.
There's your Nintendo seal of quality.
Like, guaranteed though, just make this kid just despise Christmas. I don't want to play another video game again. That's not true. We're in love with it. But see, there we go. There's that water. You were already conditioned. You've already died multiple times to water, so naturally you end up kind of like trying to be very, 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 very careful around water. It's just a
No.
it's that emergent it's emergent behavior from the player, not emergent gameplay. But they go, oh, liquids are bad. Like, with the exception of the holy water, which is really just you chucking a scotch bottle. You just chucking a scotch bottle around.
Holy
it's not
water,
really
liquid
holy water.
courage.
It really is. You're just chucking this stuff, mostly to just find hidden platforms and whatnot. You just learn to avoid that liquid until you inevitably fall into the red stuff and go, oh wait, this isn't instantly fatal. And then you're like, you lied to me. This whole game really is built on a major set of horror. I think it's more like a mixture. It's a mixture of horror and lies. Like, I mean, the horror genre really hadn't been deeply invented yet at this point in video game history, right?
No, I mean, I think the closest to this might have probably been, the Friday the 13th or the Nightmare on Elm Street games.
Yes, both of which are excellent in my opinion. People are going to be very mad at me over that, but I think both Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, two LGN games, are deeply despised, but I enjoy them purely because of the faithfulness to the source material, right? I'm like, actually, a lot of this stuff is really just straight out of the movies. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street's kind of it's more based on the Dream Warriors, right? So that was what Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And then, of course, Friday the 13th is also kind of a blend of the two movies, because this is just a fun fact. Since we're here, since we're learning things, people think that Jason Voorhees was the villain of Friday the 13th, and that is not true. The original villain of Friday the 13th is his mother, Pamela Voorhees, and she's the one that's killing those camp counselors. It's not until the sequel that Jason actually steps in and takes over as the primary antagonist of that. And the Friday the 13th game covers that aspect quite well. You will have to deal with Jason's mother's decapitated head. So really, the Friday the 13th game is mostly based on Friday the 13th Part 2, right? But mechanically, it's all about exactly what's happening in those movies. You're trying to save the campers. You're trying to save other counselors. You're trying to deal with it.
Water?
Oh, yes. You need that holy water.
Gimme.
So now when you equip it and you chuck it, you're going to see you're just throwing bottles of bourbon. Yep. Just have it moused over like that and push up and B. Yeah, there you go. He will keep selling you holy water. You can't run out of it. But now you're just going to be chucking that crap everywhere, including here in town. Like, anytime you go into a house.
Oh, hello. This looks like a church, which means I get to heal.
And this is how we heal. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you,
It doesn't
sir.
even charge you nothing. Right? You're like, hey, that's a nice priest. Any other game, they're like, that's going to cost you 50 gold doubloons. You're like, I am out here trying to save the world. What are you doing?
Right? Come rest your weary bones, my poor child, and pay the tithe to keep the lights on.
Now, you're back in the starting town, right?
Yep.
Yep. So now, start chucking that holy water in this room.
I don't have enough for that.
chuck it at the walls, chuck it at the floor. And if it's a false floor, it will be a cool kind of sound. You'd be like, oh, there's a hole in the floor. So basically, it's either going to destroy blocks, or if you see it go through the block, then that means that it's exactly that. It's just a illusory wall, and you can just go through it. So you've been playing for roughly 30 minutes. Like, tell me, just shoot right from the hip. What are the things that the game is making you feel?
Well, just for starters, I hate water. I hate water. And I hate those damn ghosts that were homing in on me in the middle of that freaking... Oh, hey! You stop it. God damn it!
Oh my goodness. You got jumping werewolf.
And really? Really?
Since you were back in the starting town, I suggest you go left. You already know what bad things are this way. And it's not going to get you into the mansion either. Honestly, I can't remember which is the first one. Oh, and they didn't even tell you about stakes. I can tell you this. Even just from the beginning here, merely not having any instruction or any context of what to do, to me, this is actually kind of frustrating.
Yeah. Let's just say
make a leap of faith.
I'm not in the best of shape here. And it's not letting
Keep going left.
Literally the only thing that's, really like keeping me grounded, because yeah, this is stressful.
Especially since you have that time limit of
right.
Bad days are coming his way.
But if there's one thing that's actually helping me keep grounded, surprisingly, it's the music.
Well, I mean, some of the most certified bangers came right out of here.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, just focusing on the music and kind of... Oh no. Oh god. You said go left.
I did. I didn't know you were going to get murked right out the gate.
I went left.
You're going to have to go faster. Must go faster.
Ah!
But right now, check it. Here's what we've got. Here's what we've got going on.
Mild heart attack.
This is kind of the point. This is the point of the show. That scared the hell out of him, right? An 8-bit game from nearly 40 years ago has actually made him jump, and in fact, it has stopped him from going in the direction he's supposed to be going.
Nope.
Isn't that interesting? Like, the game has enough tension in it right now that he has, in fact, not gone in that direction, and he didn't even try to use his holy water.
No, I haven't. You jerk.
See? But that's how much it shook you. Like, oh, everything's different. And I can tell you what he's attempting to do, folks, without him saying it. Everything's stronger and far harder hitting at night, obviously. They hurt you more. It takes a lot more to kill them.
Oh.
Look, we got the spooky, scary squad running around town. Like, we don't even know where these people come from.
We had a little bit of a bug there, because I was standing on the doorway and trying to throw the holy water, and it wasn't going, like, it wasn't spawning past.
Good old-fashioned collision boxes. Yep. That's consistent with doors in general. But this is what I was actually going to say. I was going. I know what Ace is doing, and he was waiting for daylight to start to cycle around, so then he could try going to the left when the enemies will be weaker.
Yep. You called it.
Here's my world famous OBC line when it comes to video games. You can basically take all video games and boil them down to this, and you're going to hear me repeat this a lot over the next 11 episodes. You're just gonna have to tough it out. Tough it out. Tough it out. You always wait until you have no health. It's like, just go. Just bull rush it, man. Just bull rush it. There you go. See? There you go.
More of them.
So the thing that I tell people is there's something that the game wants you to do, and it's going to keep beating your ass until you do it. That's video games in a nutshell, right? If it could be something as simple as playing Tetris. It can be something as simple as that. I'm not sure you can make this one. It may be, in fact, go right. But now we learned an important lesson. But that's what will happen in a video game. Every video game wants you to perform a certain action. That is literally how video games work, right? They rely on player input. They also rely on you. They rely on you to comply, right? With all kinds of pressure. You know, on a recent episode of Gamer Quotient Gaming Academy, we sat down and played a bunch of brawlers, and Ace and I learned a lot about what the game wants the player to do at any given time. Like when we played through Final Fight and we died, what happened?
We died a lot. But, you know, it was one of those things that, you know, as we played through it and as we kept dying, we also kept learning as far as like how to, you know, we kept relearning, I should say, how to reposition ourselves and, you know, focus a lot more on, you know, what we can do to stun enemies that were coming our way.
Well, and there's also the important aspect of the continue screen. Because what's the continue screen for Final Fight?
Oh, we're strapped to freaking dynamite.
And this is where we get into the psychology of things. So the entire purpose of that, along with several other arcade games, most notably Ninja Gaiden, if the player lost in some way, they would typically be shown an image or an animation of a sort that tries to get you back into the game by showing that something really bad is about to happen or is currently happening to your player. I mean, heck, even Street Fighter II, just as an example, right? You know, you lose a fight and your character is beat up. Boy, Ryu had some chubby cheeks, right? After them beatings he'd be taken. Ken don't look good. Chun-Li's looking a little dusty, right? And the countdown to continue put that quarter back in the machine, right? That was to, like, no, like, they're down, they're not out, right? Because they'd always get a twinkle in their eye after you pop that quarterback in. And in Final Fight, you know, hey, if you don't put that quarterback in, these guys are going to get blown up with dynamite. They're going to be gibletized, right? And it's up to you to put that quarter in the machine so that the knife comes down and cuts the dynamite and stops it from detonating. And in Ninja Gaiden, which is probably the most horrific and gruesome of all, please keep playing prompts that a video game will hand you. Let's just say Ryu is tied down in a horrifying looking demon's lair with a gigantic saw blade just descending from the ceiling. And he is struggling. That man is desperate. He is doing everything in his power to not die. And if you don't put that in, you do get to see the beginnings of that saw blade enter his chest. Right? It is horrifying. Why did we take the time to describe that? Because Castlevania doesn't need to do that. Castlevania 2 doesn't do that at all. It's just, oh, you died? Oh, you ran out of lives? Okay. Well, get back in the saddle, keep playing, continue, or, get your password, right? So you can come back at a later time. Because the game has already set that mood. It by its very nature is scary, right? Come on, you fighting the thing from the Black Lagoon or whatever. Yeah, the creature. We got him. We got mermen. We got skeletons. We got werewolves. We got regular wolves. We got bats, eyeballs, sharp sticks. It's a fucking crazy place. Yeah, try throwing your holy water. Yep, see? Isn't that nuts?
Man. Man.
I told you the game lies to you.
On a consistent basis.
It's always lying to you. You don't trust your lying damn eyes. So that's the other thing, right? So we've already put, just watching Ace, we've seen him get afraid. Right, we've seen him become legitimately stressed out by just trying to get from one screen to another, because the enemy patterns, the pressures are cruel. Now, I'm going to be fair and tell you, yes, if you see wide open spaces, yeah, chuck your holy water first, because they will try to drop you. Yeah, they'll do that to you. They're rude. But we've seen him go from being afraid to having a certain amount of intimidation to a certain degree of frustration. These are all psychological things that are happening to Ace, not to Simon. Simon is just Ace's representative within this world, right here. Right? But everything we see is things that Ace is deciding to do within the limited framework that we have. And now we've gotten to the lying part. Right? Which I would argue that the two biggest lying games in the NES era are this and Metroid. Right? Where we're not going to tell you a whole lot, and there will be a lot of hidden passages and things that will be fairly necessary for your survival. But basically, it took these two games. Isn't that kind of weird? That it's a marriage of this particular Castlevania and Metroid, and of course that gives birth to the Metroidvania of, hey, explore and double back and backtrack.
Yep. So yeah,
almost but not quite RPG.
So yeah, it's not even Symphony of the Night and Super Metroid that really fostered the genre. It's these two mother.
I told him. But that's how you learn about that holy water.
And the thing is, I saw that slime come up through the
floor.
So it's like, where did it come up from?
Right? Is this a bug? No,
that's not a bug. That's a feature.
And these very things right here, like the puzzle-like nature of even getting through here, having to figure out, okay, how do I navigate these enemies because they're all positioned in a really crappy way. Coming to realize that there was a whole hidden platform you couldn't see, tricking you into thinking that you couldn't progress, to going, oh, look, you just made it through this gauntlet of enemies.
Here we go. First off, let's do that. Then if we jump here,
definitely jump and throw holy water too to get extra distance when you're just not sure. Because make no mistake, they want to drop you. They want to drop you like a bad habit. And yes, that is a friendly NPC down there.
Now, there's something very wrong with this. Why is there a friendly NPC down there?
I think that guy, if I recall, I think he'll sell you a steak. Since this is your first mansion, yeah, I think he'll sell you a steak because that's what you need to actually get to Dracula's Park. If I recall, most of the time, mansions just don't really have bosses either. Right? It's just like, they're like, hey, listen, kid, getting there was was hard enough.
Oh, those bones that they throw leave fire behind. That's... Huh.
They hated kids. I cannot stress this enough.
Oh, yeah, they...
Yeah, and I think that room off to the right, I think that is the first Dracula party. No shortcuts. You're gonna have to do this the hard way.
Figured that
So-
would be the case.
Let's look at this from a narrative perspective here real quick. You know, it's kind of wild that, I mean, yes, it's, you know, Simon's quest, but right now, we're like, oh, you're the good guy. Yes, but you're also the person who is resurrecting Dracula. Like, oh no, you are the cause of and the solution to this problem.
Right. Okay, I have purchased the
I
steak.
think you can break those blocks over there. I think you can whip those out. Yeah, see?
Oh,
Oh no. He pushed a button. We have no clue what he got.
I'm too used to pushing buttons to advance text.
It said, brr. It's like, well, it was something. It was something, all right. Now, you'll use that stake just like the holy water, but if you mess up, you're gonna have to buy another one. I'm dead serious. That's a one and done.
I'm so glad I didn't try to, like, test the steak.
Just trust that the stake is
Flame flickers inside the ring of fire.
yes, the hints. That's what you've been collecting. That's what you've been getting. Non-lying, mostly non-lying hints. Mostly.
And yet I skipped that first one.
So, story-wise, like I said, we're looking at. It's unfortunate that Simon is literally the cause of and the solution to this problem that has befallen the land. You have to kind of look at this too. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You have to look at this through this additional lens, right? Of kind of free will versus is he destined to do this? Like, a lot of his choice is taken away from here. Deal with this problem, or you're gonna succumb, right? Everyone is down bad. You're not here just saving these people. You're literally saving your own ass. like, oof, that's the thing. So, you put this curse on the player, and then you put these high stakes on it. You really have motivated them to get moving. It kind of reminds me of Demon Souls in the same way that, unlike Dark Souls, where it's like everything's very, very vague and the plot requires you to go look about all kinds of stuff.
Then I got dropped again.
Once again, deceit. Deception just ruined this man's whole career. But yes, it's like Demon Souls in that regard, where they put the stakes right in front of the player's face, nice and plain. With the last monumental. Hey, if you don't deal with this demon problem, this old one is gonna wake up and the whole world's gonna get swallowed up by it and all that. Oh, I'm the last monumental. Like there were other monumentals, half living, half dead, kind of like bearers of the burden of holding reality together. and they've all died except for one. And when that one dies, the whole world goes to hell, like the golden child. So you're like, oh, there's one left. You can see the corpses of the rest. You're like, oh dear, the time is of the essence. You got to move now. And that's really the same kind of energy that Castlevania II brings, right? I wouldn't say that it's out of pocket to put this game up there in that incredibly high difficulty level. And it's not even that things are difficult per se, it's that the game is very unforgiving, as we've seen just from Ace's gameplay. I mean, they're going to punish you real quick, real fast, right, until you learn, right, until you figure out where that hole is in the terrain, and then you move past it, right. That's all that this game does. It continues to throw that kind of pressure at you. Right, so yeah, right, they put a whole slew of just awful enemies right there in a terrible, rough spot.
And then the jumps.
And then the jumps start. Again, with that very, very tight spacing. You have to be really exact about this stuff.
Oh wait, this is where I did all that just to have to go back this way.
Yeah. I said I was going to provide commentary. I did not say I was going to help him. I am on the side of the game. I may be deceiving you at any time. No, that's not true. Basically, if you go right, like you can clearly see that you need to be headed, generally speaking, in the right direction. Right, but they're gonna make you jump through loops to just get over there.
I'll remind you that you need to jump.
Mm-hmm.
I was not trying to go up those stairs. I was trying to throw the holy water.
A game such as this also has a tendency to engender a certain degree of creativity out of the player. If you were playing this game way back in the day, just as much now, I'm just watching him do it, and frankly, like, it activated some really old instincts. Like, I wanted to pull out graph paper and I wanted to start mapping out this mansion and where all the pitfalls are. If he hadn't have tried, and if he hadn't been told, it's like, no, you're going to use that holy water, right? He might have never discovered that, right? So this is a game that strongly encourages deep exploration.
Okay, so that's an actual dead end there.
So looking at the broader philosophy of the game. So we have a lot of non-linearity, as, you know, the game is really, really very much so driven forward by the player, not by the game.
Oh yeah.
And like it's kind of hard to explain, but you know, other games put pressure on you in a different way. Like, hey, here's your tutorial. Then they kick you out of the tutorial and you can never go back to the tutorial. No, they dropped your ass in the middle of town. They had to find a place for you to start. So they said, here's as good as any, right? And kind of figure it out from there, right? So the game really doesn't move forward without you in any capacity, right? It's Simon's quest, but it's actually your quest. It's up to you to do it. And of course, there's a certain degree of grinding that will occur in the game, and backtracking and things like that. But in a sense, they're kind of necessary, right? I mean, you can think of it as part of the whole hero's journey, right? You're going to have to persevere. I mean, people have been watching Ace do it just now. Like, he's taken some spills. He's lost track of his speed a couple of times.
Boy, howdy have I.
You've been getting beat up by the Monster Squad. Like, they're just whooping up on you. We haven't even run into a Frankenstein yet.
Listen, the 13 ghosts of Scooby-Doo have not been kind to me.
Mm-mm. So, here's my question. let's talk about the design, the actual pixel art, the atmosphere, the mood. What's it doing for you?
Oh, there is very much just this. There's a sense of foreboding almost. Because, I mean, it's not just, the lore, the fact that there's this curse, but also just the use of color. Because, I mean, I'm in this mansion, but I'm seeing just all this stone and brick and moss. And this is just from the sprite work alone.
Right? It's mossy. It's no one's been here for a while, right? Clearly, look at the local inhabitants.
Clearly.
You got a guy throwing his bones at you like, oh, of course nobody's been here. But
I've got a bone to pick with you.
It makes me question if Simon killed Dracula. Who put the body parts here? Did he do this? Like, did you do this? In fact, I'm not 100%, but I think this is like a year. I think this takes place like a year after Castlevania.
After.
These guys got busy, okay? Like, they moved in. We got knights, we got bone soldiers, we got green slimes. Like, oh yeah, it's a hot mess. But this, I think, again, is so important. Like, we play during the day, and we feel safer. We know the minions of Dracula are many, but they feel weaker, right, during the day, and they are weaker during the day. But man, like when you walk in a mansion, this is an important thing because I said time doesn't pass in the mansions. They are the same whether it's day or night. It doesn't matter. But the game is trying to put a kind of, we'll call it quasi or semi horror on the player's head. Like, you're running throughout the woods, you're getting, like we said, you're getting jumped by all the wildlife. Like, all they need to do at this point is throw poison ivy at your ass just to make it complete. And when we really look at key mechanics, like it's a fusion of the game mechanics as well as the art design is really what we're doing. That's creating the scariness of the game, or at least the oppressive feeling of the game.
That's the word I was looking for. Oppressive.
Right, exactly. It's oppressive. It's just like, ooh, my goodness. Like, you there's a feeling of the game doesn't want me here. The game is going, move along. And you're like, oh.
I'm trying.
Oh. Now it might be 2 blocks. Oh, you scared me. Oh, I got scared for you. What are you doing? Play the game right.
I'm trying.
Oh, I think you made it. You made it. Now all you got to do is you're going to go and you're going to see the big old orb. You're safe. I promise you're safe. All you need to do is just swap to the stake, chuck it at the orb, and grab the body part. You're good. You can just throw it just like that. There you go.
Woo! I got
one. You got one. He got the rib. He got the baby.
No, Dracula's rib.
Dracula's rib is really cool because it's a damn shield.
Yes. I can work with that.
And that's really how Dracula's parts work. Like, they provide this grotesque benefit in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, Dracula's eye will allow you to see things that you couldn't see before. But even then, this leads right back into the atmosphere. Look at how macabre that is. It's like, oh man, I need a shield. Yo, I'll just take a dude's entire rib. You're like, yo, like, you've got a 6-year-old kid running around with human body parts and said it's a game. Like, oh yeah, you have to get one of his eye and his rib, and you're gonna have to get Dracula's nail, and you're like, man, this is grotesque.
This is gross.
Right? It's just nasty. But yeah, at this point now you can leave the mansion, and of course,
Destroy the curse, and you'll rule Brahm's mansion.
and this is Brahm's mansion, if I recall correctly. And destroying the curse was your spear, the surprisingly Metroid looking spear. We're just gonna let that ride for now. So let's talk about frustration.
Oh,
What has frustrated you the most?
The of it. I just. Now that you see what I mean? But just now that I have to, now that I know that there's this whole to do with, the blocks that the holy water can pass through. Now it's like I'm literally trying to do this every block or so just to make sure I don't, take a dive.
Welcome to the club. That's what happens. That is what happens in Castlevania 2. You're like, I'm a holy water, all the damn things. That's the score. But see, that's not even frustration. But you did just describe another huge psychological trait. The game has induced anxiety into you. From your first fall into the water and going blue bad, right? Like, I'm sorry. Just consider the following. With the exception of the guy that sold you the steak, everything that's been blue has been very painful for you. Right? You got blue knights, blue gargoyles, blue skeletons, blue water. If it's blue, it's done with you. Right?
And what if blue's your favorite color? Oh, you're out of luck, son.
Right? It's just one of those things. It's one of those things. But the game has now induced anxiety into you. That quickly, in under an hour, you're now anxious about falling through hidden platforms and whatnot, right? And finding yourself just chucking holy water everywhere, right? And that's exactly what the game wanted you to do. They want you to look, and they want you to look hard, right? And they want you to stop and check and double check and reconsider basically everything that you do. And they put a time limit on you to do it, right? You're like halfway through the week. This man's about to eat it. He's not going to survive this curse. Now, you just leveled up.
Oh.
There is a leveling system here.
Really?
Based on how many hearts you've collected, yes. He does get stronger. And of course, there are whips to buy. And, like someone tried to sell you the Thorn Whip. And of course, you'll be able to get a Morning Star. And, finally, you'll have the Flaming Whip and all that good stuff.
All right.
A lot of these guys, you'll just start one-shotting. Right?
No matter what time of day?
Most of the crumb bums, yeah, they'll get one-shotted by the Flame Whip, no problem.
And I just saw what this. Yep. Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
Shoot
me. Ding. Ding.
And there,
it's functional.
And there lies the sense of triumph. He went through all that, but knowing I can deflect projectiles now. Like, hold up, I'm the boss. Now, here's what I think is interesting, is that unlike other entries in Castlevania until Symphony of the Night, where they really started locking it down, Castlevania 1, 3, and Super Castlevania 4 are obviously very much so like each other, where they are left to right, side-scrolling, stage-based, with an actual clock, timer, and standard bosses at the end of the stage and all that other stuff. Your motivations change deeply between this game and other games in Castlevania, where your number one thing to do in Castlevania, 1, 3, and 4 is straight up eradication, right? You're here to destroy monsters. If it's in your way, in your path, you're going to go out of your way to destroy it while also constantly making your way to the right. Whereas here, you can't eradicate anything. They'll always be back every single day, every single night, right? And so you're not really able to complete it, have any kind of sense of completion in that regard, because you're not here to destroy monsters. You are here to stop Dracula's curse. That is your actual primary goal, right? And that's just, that little distinction is different because it changes how the player is also experiencing and pursuing their goals.
And now that I'm just sitting here with it, even just, knowing, not just getting that shield, but then seeing what it, seeing that it actually does deflect. I'm already thinking of like the next place that I want to try and go, but also I'm just feeling that sort of relief, now that number one, I'm back in a safe area, but number two, I'm back in a safe area and better equipped.
Bingo. Right? There's true progress has been made. Like in that first hour without a guide. So, well, you have me, you got your spirit guide. I told you that the game was lying to you and to throw all the scotch at every wall.
Right.
But even then, that tiny amount still really got you pointed in the right direction and picking up the right vibe. So as I said, you can't eradicate everything. This game asks something different of you. It asks you to integrate yourself into the game. You start to realize very quickly that the game is not on your side and never will be. It keeps telling you, we're lying to you. We're lying to you. So eventually you start, as Ace has shown, you start to not trust the game. Even it's like, oh, this is a platform. You're like, I don't believe it is, right? You're checking and then you're double checking to make sure. Those little things change how you approach solving puzzles. We can take this one all the way back to classic wall chicken, right? Like we can go all the way back to the first Castlevania. Once we just discovered, oh, there's meat in them walls. We always stop to check because Castlevania lies to the player frequently. Just as a series, it's built into its core, which it's so interesting that deception is the key here. Did we tell you how to proceed, or did we just blow smoke up your butt with the pure aim of getting you to burn up your limited game time and wander into the bad ending?
Which I get the feeling that I've, just with the progress that I've made right now, I'm very likely to get the bad ending.
Oh yeah, no, this game, you got to move your ass. You really, really have to move your butt to meet that time limit. It is not forgiving. Like you have to take like an exact path to do all that.
Whew. Well, I don't know about. Oh, go ahead.
Well, so now that you've gotten a good solid hour of Castlevania back underneath your belt for the first time in a very, very long time of Castlevania II, what takeaways do you have regarding the resilience the game is trying to teach you, and problem solving, and growing through the struggle of navigating this game that is directly hostile to the player?
Well, it's definitely a good reminder of that resilience that it's that it instilled. Because around the time around the time where I was playing this and games like this, this is around a point in my childhood where where I was, where practically everywhere we needed to go, we walked. And it was between playing stuff like this and Ninja Turtles and just walking everywhere and dealing with, aching joints, dealing with sore feet, dealing with, lots of chafing because our baseball uniforms would itch to high heaven, especially on those hot ass Saturdays. Whew. But all those inconveniences, all that discomfort, it built up something in us. It built up a tenacity that we still carry through to this day.
And we have to because especially in the game world, no one is looking out for you. No one in this game is looking out for you. Yeah, you can stop by the church, but I'm saying the priest ain't seeking you out, right? And when we were kids, way back in the 80s and early 90s, there were a lot of problems that we had to solve ourselves, right? Like, obviously we had oversight from parents and grown-ups and things like that, but there was a lot of parts of life that were just kind of hard as a kid. Like, hey, there were plenty of times where you were out running around playing, tripped, fell, scraped yourself up, and you were gonna have to bandage yourself. Like, and then you just got right back in the game. Like, you handled it. Yeah. Right? You coming home with bruised and scraped up knees and scraped up elbows. Well, that was really par for the course now, wasn't it?
That it was.
And this game is definitely reflective of that kind of stuff. I mean, Ace has taken how many deaths have you taken, or rather, how many continues did you go through?
I think I've used like 7,
2 or 3, 7 lives, but like 2 or 3 continues.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 continues.
Mm-hmm. So
it's been a battle.
Right. You're fighting uphill right out the gate. They dropped you. They dropped you in town. You were like, "Can I get a map?" They said, "No." What do you think this is? What do you think this is? Super Metroid maps in our game? Like, no, of course not. They're like, go read, kid, read the signs. And eventually, you're like, oh, okay, right? But no, it turns into a messy little map. Really, Castlevania 2 is. I love Castlevania 2, but I think it's pretty clear to see at this point that it is the black sheep of the series. It was the beginnings of the concept of an idea that wouldn't really manifest fully, truly, until the Super Nintendo comes around, and of course Super Metroid comes along and tightens up what they were doing with regular Metroid multiple times over, right? And then, of course, we get the goated game. We end up with Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which really blends all of this stuff together, and brings over the leveling system. Well, a more complex version of the leveling that's happening in this game, right? But then they change pro tags. You're like, I'm not playing as a Belmont. No, it just really changes things on you. So, in a closing thought on the psychology of this game. It pushed fear, it pushed anxiety, it made him also question what he was looking at any given time, right? Eventually doubts started to happen. I think I actually watched it click for you when you jumped up on that floating platform and you were like, right? And also, if you had just chucked holy water out there, it would have collided with that solid brick that's just floating, right? And you would have been like, oh dear, right? I just can't see it. Can't proceed here, right? So the game has pushed him, right? And says, here's our rules. This is what you have to do, right? We're going to beat your ass until you start doing it, right? And then once you started doing it, like, just imagine if you had gone all the way out there to go get that rib, not knowing that you needed a steak, because the game sure didn't tell you.
Yep.
I wouldn't know. That guy's a good guy. You're like, why are you hanging out down here with a whole bunch of wooden stakes? Don't you see there's a mob of blue skeletons around?
Right? But yeah, but aside from that, though, sure, the game pushed tension. The game pushed stress. It pushed, again, it pushed a level of oppression and not terror, but bone deep horror that,
Right.
you know, you even after you set the game down, you can still legitimately feel it in your bones. But you want to know what else you feel?
What?
Tenacity. Because once you hit that point where you get the rib, you get the shield, it immediately clicks into place, you know, other places where you could potentially use it. And then once you collect enough hearts to level up, and you actually see that there's that, you know, that there is that progression there, you know, you start to, you know, you really start to learn that, number one, you've got more in the tank than you think you do. And number two, you can push through.
So, I think with that, I think we need to come up with the philosophy of Castlevania II, the philosophy of this game. And I think personally, I think that is, don't trust your lying eyes, right? If
Right.
the game is telling you that, like, if the game is telling you that not everything you see is true, you should consider taking that seriously. You should also consider whether or not that very statement itself is true or not. It's just one of those things that you really have to think about. So it definitely, the philosophy of the game is stay aggressive, assertive, right? Be defensive, be paranoid, just a little bit.
Question everything.
Question everything you see, because not everyone is on your side. And there are plenty of really, really good games that have picked up on those traits along the way. Additionally, it's just as he said. Now, one of the great things is that, you know, you can keep continuing, you can keep going and trying to figure it out, right? Unlike, you know, other Castlevania games where, you know, run out of lives, run out of continues, and you're way back at the beginning, bucko. This game is not that. There is XP loss though, which is really funny because that's what happens every time he dies. He's losing hearts, right? Which is his currency for buying stuff. So even this early on, you are investments, right? For failing to keep your feet from underneath you, or dealing with them blue skeletons adequately.
Right.
So there is a philosophy that is in play here, and they expect the player to take care of yourself, because we are not going to take care of you. The game is very, very aggressively against you, and I guess that's the game. That is the game. They're like, well, wait, what does that mean? It's like, well, in a brawler, the point of a brawler is to brawl, right? But the point of this game is that the game is actively trying to thwart you, the player, at every single turn, which is so interesting. They're not Simon's burdens, right? You're the one that can't see the invisible block, not Simon, right? Simon will stand wherever it's valid to stand, but it was about you. Because more of this deals with you and not Simon Belmont. We don't get dialogue from Simon Belmont. He's just a dude with really cool white gloves for some reason. I don't know why I don't know why the hell he's wearing white gloves to a monster killing party. It's like, bro, those aren't gonna be white for very long. All that moss on them walls, all that algae. No, he's not gonna be okay. He's not gonna be okay at all.
Oh yeah,
right?
Like, he's like, look, it ain't easy being green. It ain't easy being Simon.
Sure ain't.
But Simon's gonna wind up green with all that moss.
And so this is the ultimate takeaway. and why I thought Castlevania 2 was going to be so good for this. Um, Everything that we described of you can't trust everything that you see, don't trust your lying eyes, right? And the game is actively trying to thwart you. This is really, I think, the hallmark game for this generation of games, where many of them did the same stuff, right? Even Super Mario Brothers, come on, there were hidden blocks all over the place, right? And hidden vines and there's warp pipes and stuff like that. They weren't giving you everything you needed to know, but the motivators are different in Super Mario Brothers. You can clearly see your time limit ticking down ungodly fast, right? And your goal in the original Super Mario Brothers is to run your ass from the left to the right as fast as humanly possible and jump up on that flagpole and do a sick dismount, get in that castle and go get that mushroom retainer and keep doing it. Keep doing it over and over and over again, right? But it's just that slightly different motivation to go look. You know, most of the time it was someone who was being curious that made the way. But in Castlevania 2, curiosity is not an option. You cannot complete Castlevania 2 without being a certain amount of curious. If you have no guide and you have no instruction manual and you're going, I'm going to beat Castlevania 2, you have to look around. You have to pay attention. You have to pick up on all the subtle context clues. Heck, even your deaths are going to be necessary. You're going to have to fall into that blue water to know, okay, in this game, I can't swim in water. You're going to have to run into that first invisible block to know, oh, this is a thing you might do. You're going to have to find a false floor and fall through it at least once to go, false floors are a thing here. Like this is really the true punchiness, because you can't complete this game without knowing those key things, right? You couldn't even get the rib if you hadn't known about the guy selling the steak. You didn't even know that was the thing you needed, right? It's like, oh, go get the Dracula part. Yeah, what if you had rolled up in there and you didn't have enough hearts? Oh, you'd be sitting there grinding on mobs and you'd be like, why do I have to give this guy? It's a piece of wood. I'm in the woods. I'm in the woods. Can't I just go get a stick? And they're like, no, it's got to be this special stick. It's just going to require 80 coronaries, please. You're like, why do you need all these hearts?
So to sum it up, that's the philosophy of Castlevania 2. That's what Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest is trying to teach you. Two things: curiosity and tenacity.
That's it. Stick with it, and you got to be curious about it, right? Many games in this generation do this, but I think Castlevania 2 does it the best. Now, of course, as I said, historically, it's a very divisive game. Like, you know, when it came out, it was just a total mind screw and just frustrated people. And, you know, in more recent years, especially with fan patches and things like that, people kind of look at it and they go, you know what? You know, you get a bad rap. You're a weird game, but you caught a bad rap, right? And it's actually a pretty okay game. It's very innovative for its time, right? The idea of, hey, we're not timing you. Well, not overtly anyway, right? It's like, take the time, explore, get beat up a little bit, and it's really just, to me, it's been incredible. It's an incredible experience. It still scares the piss out of me. It still ruins my. I just get right underneath the covers. I'm just like, no. Wife is like, you're ridiculous. But no, that music is just that password screen, man. It haunts me. Like, no, that's why I never continue in that game, or I never, if I'm going to play it, I'm going to play it in one sitting, because I don't want to put in the password and find myself scared. I don't want to do that.
Indeed.
So it's very much so a nostalgic game for me, no question. But whew, I don't know if I can put myself behind that kind of stress again, right? And
well, that's what you got me for.
Yep. That's exactly why I have tricked you into playing these games. I think it's gonna be really painful once we get around to Bloodborne, which people are gonna be really excited about. because that's going to be something, especially if you get further than you did the first time you played it. So all in all, uh, this was our very first philosophy of the game, and we covered Castlevania 2. I think that Ace really picked up something different than from when he played this as a kid.
That I did. Honestly, like again, when I played this as a kid, it was difficult to just understand what I was supposed to be doing. But now, I mean, here we are, you know, just doing our thing.
Doing our thing. We've and I think this is a very important detail and probably the best note to close on. Um, because we came up in that time, we're very used to games being difficult, and we're used to being asked for more. I think is kind of a huge uh, component of this. And so when we sit down and we play games that are quote unquote hard now, Returnal, Sorrows, Hades 1 and 2,
Armored
or
Core
a Monster
6.
Hunter game, Armored Core 6, we were already used to having to deal with extremely difficult gameplay systems that demanded precision from the player and commitment from the player. And so when a more modern game goes, hey, you know what? They just give you that gentle little push and they go, hey, you could do a little bit more and you could get some extra special, whatever. That's perfectly fine to us, right? But to see other much younger players, um, because game design has changed so much, especially here in the 21st century. Um, I think that you can definitely see those psychological effects on them. We started video games and they were hard and they got easier over time, right? So we were well equipped to deal with that stuff. But for these guys, games were already much, much easier than when we started, like here with Castlevania 2. And so these guys have things like save states, right? They had the ability to save anywhere, right? You didn't have to keep the Nintendo on for 28 plus hours because you have no way to pick up from where you've left off without it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you drop that power, that was it. You're right back at the start. Um, they have a lot of advantages in that regard, and just as a small anecdote in that, regarding that, I remember in 2010 getting into, or in 2010 to 2011, getting into discussions with younger gamers, people younger than me, over Dead Rising 2. And the fact that they had to manually go save the game was like this massive negative point to them, where they were like, I can't believe it. This is a bad game. Why? Because I can't just stop wherever I am. And it's like, well, the game is structured not unlike Castlevania 2. You have a time pressure on you to perform in a certain way. You can go and do whatever you want, but you're not going to get the best ending, right? And Dead Rising, like, almost, but isn't quite a simulator, right? And when you play, they want you to go take a break. As Frank, or Chuck Green, you have to go to the restroom or go back to the security room, check on other survivors. You need to find food to heal. You
Mm-hmm.
need to find ways to equip yourself and defend yourself because you are grossly outnumbered. In
Oh
fact,
yeah.
these two games are very, very close to each other if you just look at those core themes, right? They've got this kind of horror, except, Dead Rising is funnier about it, right? You're running around and dressed up as Mega Man and shooting his like rubber foam mega blaster balls at people in the mall. You're like, oh, this is ridiculous. But there's still a kind of pressure that's placed on the player. You have to do this, and you need to be quick and expeditious about it.
Yep.
And watching these guys struggle with the concept of you don't get to control the flow of this game. The game is moving forward in time. It's almost like those infinite runners,
Mm-hmm.
right? That dropped on mobile really, really early in their life, where it's like, oh, you're just gonna run forever, like Jetpack Joyride or whatever. The game
Yeah.
is moving forward, Like, it's up to you to decide how you're going to act within that space. Dead Rising and Castlevania 2, time is moving forward. What you do with that time, that's a you problem, right? and and Dead Rising goes, hey, you can't save wherever you want. You need to be strategic about this. Or Resident Evil, you can't save whenever you want. You have to find ink ribbons. And there's a limited number in the game. So you needed to be really strategic about when you were going to save and why you were saving. They forced us to think in very, very different patterns that these guys aren't used to. So I can totally see a younger generation of people struggling with this game. Like, if you're in your 20s and you've not really touched anything on the NES, yeah, I think this would definitely be a tough one. So my rating is, for oldies, I love it, but for young people, I don't think they're going to enjoy Castlevania 2. If they love Castlevania lore, then you're gonna get in and play it. You're gonna play just to go to get it off your plate and go, oh, I've played that enough to know that I don't like it. But I think a lot of other young people will never connect with Castlevania 2. What about
And
you?
honestly, like I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, it's it's sad to say, but younger gamers may not connect with Castlevania 2 the way we have, because that's just it's the times we're in. There's a lot of there's a lot of quality of life tech that had been added to games since Castlevania 2 came out. And when you're when you're digging back into something like this, it's a very rough cut diamond, and are going to those edges are going to cause some injuries.
Yeah, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. I mean, let's put it this way. I sending a player to play Demon Souls is an easier recommend because it's much easier to see where you're struggling, right? And to know that the enemies will be in the same position every time. And eventually you're going to learn, oh, I need to go left instead of right, right? If I go left, I survive. If I go right, I die, right? And I'll just not go around to the right anymore, right? You learn how to solve problems in a very similar fashion. In fact, I'm not sure if you recall this, but from way back in 2009 when Demon Souls came out, right? And when the underground rumblings of this game that you had to import, people were calling it Nintendo hard. Do you remember
Hmm.
that? And they're like,
Yes, I do.
"Oh, this Dark Souls, this Demon Souls, this is Nintendo hard," and it's like that has a connotation. It does actually mean something. It's a game that is going to beat your ass until you do what they want you to do, and figuring out whether you are or are not in charge. And in these types of games, you're not in charge. The game is. And you have to decide whether you want to play the game by the game's rules or not. So I think that's going to be a big old wrap on our very first philosophy of the game. You want to take us home, Ace?
Can do. So, with that being said, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for coming to class with us. Thanks for joining us on this rather stressful first journey. But we're definitely looking forward to doing this again next month, and just digging more and more, not just into some of our favorites, but also into you know digging more and more into games that have unexpected lessons to teach us. Because again, that's what it's really all about, being curious enough to search out those unexpected lessons, and having the patience and the tenacity to suss out what those lessons are and carry those forward into our everyday lives. Just like is the mission statement here at the Gaming Academy. Take what you learn in the game, apply it to your life.
Keep your eyes open, kids. You never know what a game is trying to teach you or what kind of behavior it's trying to instill in you. Because, as I said, tenacity, right? Your ability to stick to it. Something that I say often to my squad of hunters in Monster Hunter. I oftentimes tell them that, hey, 90% of this is just showing up. 10% is actually the work. I'm like, but a lot of other people, they just crap out really, really, really easily. So you don't necessarily have to be the best at something. You just have to be the guy who is too stubborn to quit. There's a big difference between being just absolutely bullheaded and throwing yourself at a problem you can't solve versus, oh, if I just concentrate a little bit more, if I just have a little bit more focus, I can get through this, I can get past this. Yeah, that's what these older games taught us. And Nessa, it taught us how to be tenacious, right? So always keep your eyes peeled for what a game is trying to teach you. Because I learned from Super Mario Brothers that if you eat mushrooms, you are going on a bad trip. you're not ever coming down from that one. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave the mushrooms alone. And it's true. It's true. Guess what? I hate mushrooms. I don't touch them. I don't mess with them fungi, man. There's always something to learn. Sometimes it's the humorous and sometimes it's the serious, but it's almost always worth your time. So keep those eyes peeled, kids, and just stop and ask yourself, what's the game trying to teach me? We'll see you next time.
Till then, class dismissed.